I got to be honest, babe. Sometimes I struggle with pushing Black excellence
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to push in a way that seems like I'm trying to assimilate to whiteness.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
You might have to elaborate on that with me.
All right.
When I think about Black excellence and Black power, I just feel like we need to keep creating more spaces and arenas to celebrate ourselves so we don't have to feel like we need to assimilate.
Dead ass.
1, 2, 3.
It all started with real talk, unfiltered, honest, and straight from the heart. Since then, we've gone on to become Webby Award-winning podcasters and New York Times best-selling authors.
Deadass was more than a podcast for us. It was about our growth. A place where we could be vulnerable, be raw.
Pause. But most importantly, be us.
But as we know, life keeps evolving, and so do we. And through it all, one thing has never changed.
This
is Ellis Ever After.
Dead ass.
Because we got a lot to talk about.
Story time.
Mm-hmm.
The funny thing is, Tribble was just like, yo, tell us a story about the time you realized the difference between Black power and Black excellence.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew exactly where to go.
Okay.
I was coaching at Aviator at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a couple of athletes who were part of the group. It was about 40 guys in our college group. And we had 2 guys who were not Black.
Mm-hmm.
And one time the dude came, I don't want to say his name because people go back and look. He came to workouts late.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm screaming and barking. And I'm just like, yo, like, you got to be on time. He's not saying nothing because they know that I don't deal with the excuses, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next day, the whole group was late. And I got pestered. What the fuck is going on? All 30 of them kids, the Black kids, right? Well, almost 40, went to pick the one white kid up from the bus stop because he had issues with the bus at the bus stop the day before, which is why he was late.
Mm.
All of my college kids, all of them Black kids, went to go pick that white kid up. And they pressed whoever was at the bus stop.
Oh, wow.
And then they came and they were all late and they all ran together because they knew they was late. So, and part of the reason why
I love them kids.
I love them kids too. My prototype kids, y'all know who y'all are. I love y'all to death. Part of the reason why I said Black power versus Black excellence is because although it was excellent that those guys all stayed together to help this one white kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
What bothered me is that it was a group of Black kids that was giving the white kid a problem to begin with.
Yeah.
And that's what showed the power of all of these Black men going to stand up and say, yo, like, in this moment, he one of us, and this is the funny part. This is the funny part. I'll never forget this. I'm going to say this one kid name.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Roger. Everybody knows Roger.
We know Roger, yes.
And Roger kept saying, we don't give a fuck if he white. If he late, we all got to run. So since we all got to run, we fucking y'all up if he late. And I was like, they was like, yo, we not running because he late. And they all banded together. But the reason why I say it wasn't Black excellence, because they was giving the white boy a problem just for being white in that part of Brooklyn to get to where his workout was. So
right,
I wouldn't call that Black excellence because that's the things we fought against in this country.
Yeah.
Not feeling accepted or not feeling like we can go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And here we made someone else feel that way. And it took 30 to 40 young Black brothers in college to go there and be like, yo, we're not doing this.
Right.
So
but I think there's excellence in that. They were able to band together and said, listen, we're not doing that. And collectively, either we're all going to run or we're all not going to run.
Facts.
Because I think, did you make him run if they were late coming back with him? Going to defend him?
I did. Now, here's the funny part. I didn't know why they were all late when they came back. So when they all came in late, I said, nobody say nothing to me. Get on the fucking line. And they all got on the line.
They just got on the line. So they were prepared.
They were prepared.
Yeah.
They were prepared.
But it was worth it for them.
Yes. And the funny thing is, I didn't call it Black excellence, even though it is excellence, because it came from a bad spot from a bunch of young Black kids. But it also showed the power of numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they were able to go back into their own community and be like, yo, we're not doing this. But there was power in that. Not just excellence, but also power. There's power in telling other people to stand down. So that's why I chose Black power.
And telling people how to treat you.
Absolutely.
That's a fact.
About 10, 11 days
you
get to be gone.
I'm on tour like Beyonce.
This is your stuff you taking?
Well, no, I'm trying to unpack the stuff from Mexico. So that's dirty. That's your stuff. They got all the sand in it. That's why the suitcase was almost over.
See, I was going to give her a pass. She keeps saying, I put the sand in the suitcase. Only one of us was on the beach.
That's not true. Why do you keep, why? Don't do that.
Kadeem.
You came and sat with me and had a drink on the last day.
Was I rolling around in the sand and didn't
You
know?
don't have to be. Anybody who knows that sand, it doesn't work like that. You can barely touch sand and it's going to be all over you.
I legitimately.
And we had the dinner on the beach in the sand. You forgot about that part, right? Rehearsal dinner.
Was you sitting on the floor in the
Rehearsal
sand?
dinner.
Or was you sitting in a chair like the
I
rest
was
of
sitting
us?
in the chair too.
So, if you were sitting in a chair, where did all the sand that you speak
Janelle,
of come from?
The sand, when you know how it is when sand touches.
No,
your
I
feet.
don't. I don't know what you're
No,
talking
okay,
about.
Conversation done, because you acting like you don't know what I'm talking
No,
about.
you like to blame stuff on people.
Anyway,
but you
so
was
the
the only
suitcase was
one
almost
sitting on the.
overweight.
No.
I'm sitting here taking out the sand. I'm done
You was the
taking
only
out.
one sitting on the beach
Go.
tanning for hours for multiple days, but all the sand comes from me. That sounds a little
The
fishy
suitcase
to
has
me.
2 sides.
Sounds a little
The
fishy
side
to
with all
me.
your clothes had sand in it. My side had no sand. You probably didn't even like dust anything out before you folded it and put it back in the suitcase. But it's
So
all good. I'm just
this
saying.
my side of the suitcase had no sand.
Your side of the suitcase had all the
My
sand.
side of the suitcase had sand.
Absolutely.
Your side had no sand.
Nope.
This suitcase was in a plane. It's been flipped around on a belt.
Absolutely.
But all the
So all of
sand
it went
just
from my
stayed
side
on
to your
one.
side?
All the sand
Because
stayed on one
zips
side.
closed on one side, Deval. Come show them how the suitcase zips. Okay?
People,
So this suitcase
let me tell you
zips
something. Man.
closed like
Let me tell you
this.
something about my wife.
Okay?
All right, my wife
Show them
likes
the
to
suitcase.
blame people
Show
for
them the
things.
suitcase.
She loves to blame
Show
people for
them
things.
the
Takes no accountability. No
You're such a
accountability.
liar.
All right.
Goodbye,
I'm not
okay.
even gonna torture y'all with this foolishness.
Karaoke time.
Karaoke time. Now I couldn't pick a song,
There's several. I feel like that comes to mind when you think about Black Power, Black excellence.
so I decided to kind of mix two.
Okay.
One, of course, shout out to Hove, and it's just the beginning. Everybody knows it's Black
Classic.
Excellency, Black Legacy,
Yeah.
Black Excellency. But I'm gonna go right into Fight the Power. Fight the power with that beat. Fight the power.
Is that what you?
Fight the power with that. That's
I see you dressed for the occasion too.
you see. Come on now. I'm glad. Yo, my wife know me.
I see. I missed
My
the all
wife
black
know
memo
me.
today. I missed the all
My
black
wife
memo. I
know
should
me.
have had on black. Look at me looking like a. I don't know what I look like right
You
now.
look great. I'm gonna have to say this. It ain't got nothing to do with Black Excellency or Black Power, but you've been losing weight and working out, and you looking great.
Thank you.
But this thing is like it's just one thing.
It's one thing, and it's swallowing me up right now. It's giving me a little bit of comfort as I'm still trying to get well from being sick. But yeah, I needed warm and fuzzy. It's giving warm and fuzzy, isn't it? Do I look warm and
I'm gonna
fuzzy?
finish my thought.
Okay, finish
It's
it.
one thing, and when you walked by me, that thing in the back was still going like this.
Well,
So,
she ain't lost that.
It
How
gives
about
me
that?
the warm and fuzzies too. So let's take a break,
Oh my
and
goodness.
we'll be back with the whole gang.
Indeed.
5, take 3, aim up.
2-day shoot, short film.
Yeah.
Cannes, ABFF, Venice, Martha's Vineyard.
All right, y'all, we're back. One thing y'all gonna do is cut up in between breaks. We over here paying bills and they're over here making fun of me. So, Josh, what I look like today?
Cookie.
As long as they're gluten free. Thanks.
Nah, you
I'll
definitely
take
got
them.
gluten back there. They might as well call me the Cookie Monster.
Oh my God. Triple, take me out of my misery over here. What we got for Opino out today?
First opera Ob does Kadeen look like she has been on Sesame Street. It's like, no, I'm gonna leave you alone.
Listen.
Trouble's gonna be on you too, though.
Underneath this, okay, this garment, this frock, I'm coming for all the BBL allegations this summer, y'all. I've been in
Oh,
the
word?
gym. I'm coming for the allegations.
That's
You been
right.
squatting your life away.
Period. That's a fact. I'm getting it together, y'all. So
That's right. I know that's right. I don't know if I want to sabotage or not, because people be asking, did Kadeen get a BBL? I'll be
Oh
like,
my
no.
God.
But this summer, I might be like, I don't know, girl.
No.
If you
Chill.
speculating, that means
then
you're
there's
doing
the
something
problem.
right, baby.
Who's been around me
Right.
the longest, most consistently? I
Me?
would say you, well, other than you. But
Oh,
people
yeah,
would probably automatically assume that my husband would like keep my dark secrets. Matt, I feel like sees me the most. Have you ever seen me in recovery from anything? Other than the sinus
No.
infection.
They're gonna be like, look, no, Matt had to pause.
Matt paused too long. Other than the
Nah,
sinus
never.
infection.
It was that one day. Nah.
No,
Oh, man.
I've been seeing you working out. When I go to the gym, I think Kadeen. When I get tired, I'll be like, Kadeen.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
I love that for you.
And it's
Triple every day.
embarrassing because every time I look in the mirror, I don't see Kadeem.
That's Triple every day, everything she does. Kadeem.
They Kadeem.
What is Kadeem?
Triple be fronting like you ain't bodied up over there, Triple.
True.
All you gotta do is 20 minutes. If you walk 20 minutes every day, be straight.
I'm gonna do that.
You'll be
Give me
straight.
3 months. Give me 3
That's
months.
You can't.
it.
Not trying to be.
Seriously, you don't work out every day?
No, I work out like 3 times a week. I try to.
I mean, that's not bad.
That's not bad.
The
3 times a week
average,
is
the
good.
average American does not work out ever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The average American
I believe it.
does not
That's
sweat.
why America looks like the way they look.
Matter of fact, this has nothing to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
No,
I
it
do
does.
want to say this, right? A study show that the average American child can't do 1 pull-up,
Mm.
right? The average American child does not sweat enough to rid itself of any of the purities in its body for it to be a normal child. So think about where children will be 20 years from now, living the way Americans live.
Mm.
Think about it, bro.
That's
Eating all those
crazy.
cookies.
Eating all of the processed.
Mm-hmm. Cookie Monster.
Man,
Cookie.
Josh, stupid.
Way to tie it
It
back
always
in,
come
Josh.
back to the cookies. I'm probably gonna be obese too then.
All right, but I did see something really exciting that I couldn't wait to talk to you about. The Varnell Hill spinoff series.
Let's go.
Yo.
The Varnell Man Can Shaboing Boy.
You know that's everybody knows Hollywood Swinging is my favorite episode.
Favorite
of Martin.
episode.
Part 1, part 2. That's
He
when
loves
Martin
it.
finally went to Hollywood.
Oh my God.
The
That's
Varnell Man Can Shaboing Boy.
It was a 2-part episode too, so that
was.
made it great too.
It
was.
did.
Is he
man.
playing in it?
That's not about to
Tommy
what
Davis?
is
Yes,
it?
Tommy Davidson is starring in it, and it sounds like it's gonna be like 30 Rock. So it's gonna be focusing on the behind the scenes of the Varnell Hill show and how he's trying to stay relevant after so many years on the air. It sounds like it's gonna be really good.
And it's kind of
Okay.
mockumentary-ish, right?
It sounds like it
Yeah.
might be either
Yeah.
mockumentary or like 30 Rock wasn't mockumentary, but it did have like, since it was behind the scenes, it kind of
Yeah.
gave like real life feel or whatever.
My opinion, I'm tired of reboots. I'm gonna be honest. I'm tired of reboots. I feel like Tommy Davidson was such a force in the 90s. I wish they would have given him his time when he was at like the peak. Like Tommy Davidson during that time did Booty Call with Jamie Foxx was great in that. He was on Martin. I just wish that they would have given his time 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That's all I wish. I'm probably gonna tune in because I love, Tommy Davidson.
The nostalgia of it.
Yeah, but I just wish it was 20, 25 years ago.
I hear you. I got no op today.
No op. I like the Fresh Prince. Sorry, y'all.
Well, I for one am looking forward to it. I do like that character, the Varnell Hill character.
Yeah.
I think it was great. And I'm looking forward to see who he has coming on the show, because if it's a spinoff of his character, his actual character being a TV host or a daytime or nighttime.
He's a nighttime TV host.
Nighttime host. He has to have guests, and hopefully they're incorporating that into the show. I'm looking forward to the possibilities of it. Tommy Davidson is always a good time. Pause.
Yeah,
on
he is.
TV.
Tommy Davidson is a legend, bro.
Yeah,
He is
for sure.
Hope he have Jodeci on the show.
Yeah.
And Martin comes down the
I
stairs.
want Martin to be on the show.
It has
It could be. That's one of the most classic TV moments, bro. I feel you though, Josh. That would actually be dope because the nostalgia of the guests and stuff would be kind of cool. Tribble, what you got? Op or no op? You ready for it or not?
I'm ready for it. I like that it's an extension of the Martin universe. I think it's going to be different. Not really a reboot because he wasn't a regular character. He was
True.
on 2
That is
episodes.
true.
So
Yeah.
this is like an extension that
is
really
true.
has nothing to do with
Yeah.
the
That
show
is
so
true.
much. And then I want him to do the one thing I do want him to do from the Martin show is say, "Take the children, bounce them on their knees, bounce on my knees, sing a melody."
That was the Varnell Man. Do you need his man? Yo.
What is wrong with us?
What's wrong with Tommy Davidson for him?
Nah,
Did y'all
for real.
remember seeing Martin break character?
Yes.
And go,
Absolutely.
Was that even on the sides? I just want to know.
No,
There was no sides
no,
there.
not at all.
There was no script. I'm sure all of
He
that was
said-
improv.
catfish is delicious. And Martin lost.
Lost it.
Tommy Davidson is a
That was the
legend.
goal, though. I saw in a recent interview. The goal was to break Martin on that show.
Yeah.
Like anybody we had, whether it was a cast
To
or
break
guest, they wanted to
Really?
break him. Yeah, because he was a
always the
king at that
funniest.
point.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Specifically
great.
Martin or not, or other
No, they
castmates
want
as well.
to break Martin.
They want to break
They
Martin.
talked about
Okay.
breaking.
Because he
Because,
would
like-
always break them.
Break
He was
people.
always
Gotcha.
funny, and they had to kind of learn how to be funny. You could tell, like Tisha Campbell.
Tashina.
Tashina, she didn't get funny till like season three.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She admits to it. She did. She was like sort of passive.
yeah,
Yeah. She used to
But-
let Martin say stuff to her
Yeah.
until it was like, yo, say something back. And
Yeah.
then she would come back with her stuff.
Right. And then I feel like she evolved into kind of being
Yeah,
like
definitely.
him. And that's when I kind of was like, I don't know, girl.
It
Like,
went over the
little
top after a while.
yeah, it was a little bit too Martin-like.
I'm sorry I
Martin-esque.
lied to you, Martin.
That's another one of my favorite episodes.
Favorite.
bro.
We got the kids saying it that time we took
I
them
don't
to
wanna go
Arizona.
to Arizona.
It was such a thing.
Sorry, I lied anymore.
It's the Martin reunion episode right here.
I just want to go to Arizona.
Well, Martin was black excellence and he was black power.
That is
So,
a fact.
That's
That's a fact.
Oh my goodness.
Great
That is
point.
a
Think
fact.
about all the sitcoms back in the day. I think they all were exhibiting a level
Hell
of black
yeah.
excellence and
Mhm.
power.
If you go back to those times,
Cosby
you'll
Show.
watch how so many of those artists at that time wore black college t-shirts,
Yes.
T-shirts and
Yeah.
hoodies, yeah.
Yeah.
And from Living
Yeah.
Single.
A Different
And
World,
Live in Color, a
Cosby
Different
Show.
World.
Cosby, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
part of the movement.
Martin
Yes,
always had like Negro League jerseys,
Always.
which
Yeah.
I thought was really dope. They need to
Always.
bring
Yeah.
those back.
and black college and university sweaters and all that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
It's the stuff that you realize when you watch this stuff years later. You weren't really thinking about that in that moment
Nah.
as kids. You were
Yeah.
just like, But yeah, pretty dope. What we got next?
I got an op or no op.
What's that?
Real
Okay.
quick, it goes to the topic.
What's that?
Is Bill Cosby black power and black excellence as well?
I
Yes.
think at a certain time he
Yes.
was
Yes.
black excellence, and he created black power because
Yes.
of his stature.
Mhm.
I think it's unfortunate that he's also a pervert, but
Two things can be true though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And
two things can be-
not even talking about that, but he also there were other people who were coming up during that time, artists, like rap artists and all that. He was opposed to a lot of those, like
Yeah.
the vernacular, their speech, with how they spoke. So
Did you see his arguments? Well, they just showed an interview with him talking about how purposeful he was with NBC. He used to have a psychologist on set, and they would say he told them he never wanted black people to be in a negative light on his TV show. So when they wrote things and they scripted things out, they had a psychologist on set to say whether or not this would be perceived by black people in a negative light.
Really?
He was that deliberate. Bill Cosby was about making sure that black people were seen in a way that they had never been seen before. And this goes to what Tribble was saying the last time. He wanted black people to see themselves as attorneys and doctors, but not as black attorneys and doctors. He made it very clear that I don't want to be known as a black comedian, as the black sitcom. He's like, I want to be known as the standard for sitcoms that happens to be black.
Which then in
So-
turn had people thinking that this was like not realistic, right?
but
Which
that's
is
his
very
When they
life,
watched
though.
it.
And that's the thing. That's his life. If you're living at a certain level of affluence and you are used to having a finer things in life
Yeah.
as a black man, no matter what environment you're in, and then now you have people talking to you about like, well, you're just a good black actor.
Yeah,
Or you're just good. I'm gonna want to create something that represents what I am,
that is a
as
fact.
opposed to what the world says I should be.
That is
So that
a
makes
fact.
sense.
Yeah.
Well, did you also know that the Cosby Show wasn't his first sitcom? He had a sitcom before that called Cosby that failed
Yes.
miserably.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he talked about
I
it
think
because
that came before it or
Yes,
after it?
before. He
well,
had
there
two.
he had
Oh.
two.
He had
Okay.
Cosby,
Right.
Yeah, Cosby.
which came after
Yeah.
Yes.
on CBS or something like that.
Okay.
Then he had
CBS.
you CBS?
Yeah.
Cosby Show. And then what was the one you said?
The one before that was just called Cosby.
Okay.
The
Oh.
one before that was just called Cosby, and it failed miserably. And he said it was because he allowed the studios to tell him how he was going to be received on TV. And when it failed, he was just like, I'm never listening to them again. And then he started
Yeah.
to promote his own. I mean, he had Lil Bill. It wasn't just the Cosby Show. He had a bunch of, which is, I hate saying this because people always equate one with the other. But when I look at what I want to do as a creator, I often look at Bill Cosby. Right?
Mhm.
Not only did he have a TV show, he was also doing films like Ghost Dad. He also had Lil Bill. He had so many different mediums and projects that wasn't around the Cosby Show that showed black people in a positive light, but also talked about black history.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do the same thing with Us and the Ellises.
Right.
A lot of times when you say you want to do something like Cosby, people would be like, wait, you want to? And I'm like, why does it have to go there?
Right.
When we're talking about content and what he did for that aspect
That
of black people,
particular aspect.
I rock with him
Yeah.
on that.
I even think about the way they spoke on the show. Like, did you ever notice like the way they would pronounce certain words, like mature, and there were certain
Yes.
words that they wouldn't just they were very. It was almost like they studied voice and diction when they were speaking
Yes.
on the show.
The
And I
people
know
who
he
played
was
his
also
parents. I know you're talking about, and they played Claire's
and
parents.
even Claire,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
even Felicia Rashad. Like the way they spoke was very, very. So you think we had the episode on code switching and like how to speak properly, and
Right.
I feel like I even think I remember hearing at one point that he was also very invested in the other actors, like the children. So the people
Absolutely.
who played Vanessa and Theo and Rudy, and
Him
he
and
was
Lisa Bonet used to go at it,
Right.
Because
Yep.
she was like, "Yo, I'm not trying to be this version of me,
right
you
in
want
real
me to
life,
be." Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I can see
She
when
don't
he
code
got
switch.
pushback. She's not doing it right. She wasn't
don't.
signing up to that. But I can see how in creating the standard of excellence that he saw for his show and for the people involved in his show, how probably those things, like a psychologist or maybe somebody even for speech, was involved
Yeah.
in the process.
Yeah, I feel like it was a powerful show to see the Huxtable family and the light that they were in. But however, like you said, Black people are not a monolith, and so Black
Mhm.
people who didn't have that experience, because that type of family, that type of Black family does exist, where there's generations of
Yep.
successful college educated Black people who speak properly and have professional jobs and have money and can afford to have 5 kids. But then there's also Black people who are poor and they live in the hood and they talk a different way, and so
They
growing
think that that's
up,
not realistic.
yeah, they think it's
That's
not
my
real. Or
dad.
married, even to
Mhm.
see
My
a
dad.
married Black couple. Like my mom has 9 sisters
Oh,
and
that's
2
I
brothers.
never thought about that though.
And one of my mom's sisters, my Aunt B, she was married to Uncle Phil, and we used to call them the Huxtables because he did wear sweaters. He was a teacher. They had a house, and it was not something that was
Seen.
like normal in
Right.
our family, right. And so still, even though you want this certain type of Blackness to be seen in a certain light for Black people to aspire to, sometimes it can make Black people feel othered. And I think that is kind of what the idea
fair.
of Black excellence can do,
Mm-hmm.
instead of empowering people.
Make them feel powerless.
Yes.
Yeah, that's insane.
Ooh.
I think about how that's a really
I ain't
good
never
point,
thought about
Triple.
that.
And I
Never
think
thought
about
about
people
that.
make the correlation with Deval and I all the time and say we're like the new age Huxtables or like
Yeah.
our family's like the Cosby Show, because I guess what we portray, which is just our real life to people, is essentially something that a lot of people aren't accustomed to. Maybe not accustomed to seeing someone be together or 2 people be together from a young age to develop into who
Facts.
we are today, or still being madly in love with each other, or having parents on both sides who are still married. Like those are anomaly situations to some people, where to us it's our norm. But I never thought about that idea of excellence making others feel powerless.
In all honesty, my brother's second baby mother did tell my brother, like, y'all the fucking Huxtables.
Mm-hmm.
Your brother married, your parents married, her parents married. And I was just like, just the fact that we were married and still married
Mm-hmm.
in his second baby's mother's eyes, that was like, I never seen that. Like, that shit ain't real.
Mm.
And I had to start taking into account how serious that is too, because I mentored over 400 athletes over 10 years. 75% of those athletes came from single parent homes. That is a fact. That's not something I'm making up. Over 400 athletes, over 300 of them were only moms.
I just want to say this.
Mhm.
Don't ever feel any sort of way because it's different. The fact that you guys are not the norm doesn't mean that whatever is happening outside of your family
Mhm.
it should be expected, right? Like, because of whatever happened, a prison, industrial complex, and
yeah.
drugs and
Yeah.
uneducation and all that, because people haven't been together for so long, or our community doesn't have
Mm-hmm.
2-parent households, and because she pointed out to you, doesn't necessarily make that abnormal. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, because they haven't seen it doesn't mean it's abnormal.
It's a weird thing to hear that you found it surprising, because it's just the world. I think.
No, I said I found it surprising because think about it. We come from where we come from. I only saw my mom and dad. Then I only saw my grandparents. The only broken family I saw was my mom's mom, who ended up getting remarried.
Mm-hmm.
But so in my normal, everybody got married.
The aspiration was marriage.
The aspiration was, and that was for me.
Yeah.
And then I had to step out of that and get in the real world and realize that 75% of the kids that I trained had a different lifestyle. So then I had to say, oh, in my demographic with these kids, I'm the anomaly.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't make my lifestyle, like for example, your lifestyle can't be considered Black excellence.
Yeah.
If most of the people in that same demographic are doing something different, now they feel slighted. Like, shit, I didn't get, if like, for example, if you're a woman, no one wanted to marry me, am I not excellent? If you're a man, if you couldn't find a woman to marry, am I not excellent? If you a child, if my kids, I understand where Tribble's coming from, but I understand.
It's exposure, bro. I just think it's exposure. Like my parents married for 40-something years, 43 years next month. And then their friends have also been married. I don't think my parents really have divorced friends. Like all of their friends are married.
That's what
right?
you've seen too.
And
That's
right,
what
but
I
if
see.
you don't
Seen.
have married parents, your parents are not going to have married friends. Like I grew up with, my dad didn't get married until I was
see that.
14. So my mom had friends who were working mothers who didn't
does
have
make sense.
husbands. And so it's not about it being normal or abnormal. It's about you having the perspective that
Yeah.
other things exist.
That's why I
And
said
just
exposure.
because
Yeah.
you're putting
Exposure,
forth
yeah.
something, it doesn't mean that somebody is going to receive it in the same way that you think that it will be received. Even if my mom did have a married couple that she brought around, it would still be like, that is crazy. It wouldn't be like, you know what I'm saying? It would be like, okay,
It would
that's
be the married
possible.
couple.
Yeah.
Got you.
It wouldn't be like, that's now normal. It's just a different perspective.
Yeah. I mean, and ultimately, all that glitters is not gold, right? Because you have this standard of excellence that we say, oh, it's these married couples, and we know several of them who are all fucking miserable.
Yeah.
Facts.
Who are all miserable.
Facts.
And
Yeah.
within their own marriage that we deem excellent, they're all feeling powerless because they
Yeah.
can't get out of a situation that they're ultimately
100%.
wanting to be
That
in.
is true.
But then I see people who are single moms who are thriving, doing well, children successful. That's Black excellence in itself too. That's the power that these single moms
That's what Tribble was
have
saying.
given their sons. You know, for example, a couple mothers who we know who are doing really amazing things with their children, you know, and single dads too. There's excellence in that and power in that.
So let me ask a question. Do y'all how we define Black excellence pretty much is problematic because it's not monolithic. We have to change what Black excellence looks like. What about how we define Black power though? Like what is the difference between Black excellence and Black power? I know what my example of Black
Okay, well, go
power
ahead
is,
and
right?
well, take
Like,
us away.
In my mind, when I think about Black power,
Mhm.
well, let me start with Black excellence. Black excellence is a representation, right? This is what Black excellence is supposed to be. Everybody looks at it and says, boom, that's Black excellence. Black power is more of an action word. Like, what are we doing to move a market? For example, just an easy example, the Montgomery bus boycott. That to me was an example of Black power. Now, I also feel that Black power is Black excellence, but I also don't feel like Black excellence is always Black power.
You don't always feel like excellent about. Okay.
And I'll give you why.
Okay.
Black excellence to me is an image, right? For example, that image is Barack and Michelle Obama.
Okay.
Black man, Black woman, both married, both attorneys, 2 beautiful daughters, president of the United States. But if we go back to what Tribble said, right?
Mhm.
What if you're a single mom
Mhm.
and you can't relate to that vision of Black excellence and you feel
Powerless.
right? So that vision of Black excellence doesn't relate to someone. Black power, regardless, relates to everybody. Every Black person looks at the Montgomery bus boycott and feels powerful. No one looks at that and says, I feel powerless because I can't relate to that. That to me is the difference between Black power and Black excellence. Black excellence is more like an adjective. It describes something. Black power is more like a verb.
Is it more
do
like
something.
a movement?
It's a movement.
It's like
Black power to
related
me
to
is a
movement.
movement. That's how I see it.
I'm glad you brought up the Montgomery boycott specifically because that's a really great example about what is problematic about Black excellence in terms of Black power. So I do agree. Black excellence is more individual focused and Black power is about the collective.
Mhm.
Now, the way
Like
the Montgomery bus boycott started is because a 15-year-old pregnant girl named Claudette Colvin sat down on the bus. But because she was 15 and pregnant and unmarried,
She couldn't be the person.
they made Rosa
Rosa
Parks
Parks.
the face of that situation,
Ah.
which Rosa Parks could be seen as Black and excellent because she's light skinned, she's an adult, she's married. And
I see
Claudette
what you're
Colvin could
saying.
not, even though it shouldn't matter, because the message of the boycott would be the same. We are not going to sit in the back of the bus.
see
Are they
that.
saying
I
that
see
because
that.
she's unmarried and pregnant, she's not excellent, and therefore she's not good enough
To be protected.
Yeah, she
much, she
can
don't deserve
sit her
protection.
ass on the back of the bus.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because she had a baby out of wedlock and she was 15.
Right.
Exactly. And
According to whose standards? Those were our standards.
exactly. So I
That's
feel
the
like
problem. That's why
That's
she's saying
Black
it's problematic.
standards, yeah.
yes, that is the problem because Black power is about the collective. Like during the Black Lives Matter movement, when George Floyd was murdered And we all now we get upset when people bring up the fact that George Floyd was a criminal or he was on drugs. He didn't deserve to be strangled.
Right.
And that is Black power. That is every Black person, no matter what your stature is in life, saying that no matter what his stature is in life, he doesn't deserve to be murdered.
Let me explain something to you, Tribble. I want wholeheartedly to argue with you right now.
I would want nothing
looking
more.
for the devil's advocate moment right
Listen, you see he came out with
I'm
his
getting rid of
actual
Aries.
guns blazing.
I got the guns.
Actual guns blazing.
I was ready for everybody today. I said, yo, I can't
the
wait.
smoke.
The spirit of Aries wants to come out.
Yo, so like it's so bad. But nah, I feel you. Like that is the perfect definition. Black excellence speaks to a personal preference. It's very idealistic and it's very like picturesque.
Yes.
Black power don't hold no bars. We don't give a fuck who the person is we gotta defend. We don't care how flawed they are. Black power is defending what's right, what's just.
So now my question is, are there any spaces where Black excellence and Black power can coexist?
Absolutely.
I think so. I think
Absolutely.
they need to exist.
I absolutely.
Can you
right?
name an example? Because I can name examples where they can, but they have not.
Ooh.
Because
I
I
can
think
too.
that being Black excellence is Black exceptionalism. And we were
Okay.
talking about code switching, and I
Okay.
feel like those
I'm about
people,
to go back there. Go ahead.
Uh-huh.
those people who
Just don't say
consider
problematic.
themselves Black and excellent, they've had to do things to distance themselves from Blackness in a way that is not excellent.
I agree.
So therefore, they can't really stand in with the collective because they're distancing themselves from these other Black people. They think if these Black people would just be excellent, then we could all, instead of saying it doesn't matter where you are in life, we can all still. So I haven't seen it happen. I think that it could, but I don't see.
In
Right.
theory, it should
It
coexist.
It should be
I got
able
a perfect
to.
example,
Okay.
right? We just seen it. There are certain entertainers and actors who only do PR and marketing with white outlets. I'm not gonna out them or give them any credence, but we know who they are. There's certain people you only see them on certain platforms, right? Athletes too. There's certain athletes who just do that. When we watched Michael B. and Ryan Coogler do every podcast, from the smallest Black podcast to the largest USA Today to Variety, that's an example of Black power and Black excellence. When we watched Ryan Coogler stand up there in his normal self and speak excellently about the frames of the different millimeter cameras, that's Black power and that's Black excellence. Because he never tried to change who he was. I'm exactly authentically myself, and I'm doing it at a high level. That's excellence and power, because no Black person in that moment didn't feel seen. You know what I'm saying? Which not for nothing. Remember when the after show, Josh said, DeVal will admit when he figured something, I went upstairs, right? And I was thinking about our debate. I'm gonna tell you why I think Tribble was right. When you have a Black person that stands up there in their Blackness, right, and speaks excellently about anything, it then changes the perspective of what excellence is. And that's what you were saying.
Yes.
And the fact that he doesn't have to change his vernacular at all, and people could just be like, man, that man is smart, even though he sound like he from Oakland, is Black excellence and Black power. And I feel like Ryan stood in that, because even in hearing him speak, you can tell he's not as comfortable speaking in front of people, but he chose to still do that. The same way him and Michael B chose to do every outlet from Variety to like he's on podcasts with people that have 150 followers. That to me is Black power and Black excellence. Like I gotta shout them brothers out, and they're not the first to do that at all. To be honest, Issa Rae. If I'm being honest, Issa
did
Rae
start a
is the
lot.
one who coined that. I am going to speak to. She said it. I'm
Rooting for everybody Black. That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like if
She
we're
sure
being
did.
honest, that's Black power and Black excellence. Now
Yep.
here's the crazy part. Black people killing Issa Rae on the internet right now, talking about her Black Mirror episode.
Oh, I didn't see the Black Mirror. What was it about? Did anyone see it? Y'all saw it?
You
yet?
have to
No?
watch it. I
Yeah.
don't want to ruin it for
Yeah.
people. I
Okay.
think
I
I'll have
loved
to
it.
watch it
And
then.
I actually predicted that it was gonna happen. And I
That-
was
that
so
they was gonna
proud
bash
of
her,
my
right?
gay self. No. I just predicted that she
What
was
was
gonna
it?
be doing some gay shit
Oh.
on Black Mirror. I was like,
Spoiler alert.
That was a gaydar. I didn't even see the
So
episode.
she
Thank you.
You didn't see the
predicted it.
episode?
No, I ain't
Tribble
seen
see
it.
liked it
it.
because she was gay.
Yes.
I thought the episode was brilliant. I watched it with Tristan.
Okay.
I can understand why people are confused. In the episode, she's she becomes someone else.
Mhm.
And she's not supposed to know anything that's going on in the fucking episode. So it seems like she's unaware and awkward. And all people kept saying online was like, she's so awkward and unaware. She has no idea what's going on.
That was the
fucking
point. Didn't she
people.
start
It was
her
people
whole
that don't watch
podcast, her
Black
old
Mirror making
YouTube?
comments. Like, if
Yes.
you watch Black Mirror, you understand
what
those
it
worlds
is.
are not the worlds that we currently live in.
Yes.
Right, and she also her
Yes.
YouTube was an awkward black
Black
girl,
girl.
wasn't it? Like that's I think I see her in every film, and I think she's awkward.
A lot of people like to
You know?
keep her exactly where they
Yeah.
saw her first.
Right.
Yeah.
She's evolved as a creator.
Right.
And I think sometimes when people don't get the concept of art, they try to keep them back to where they was. This is Black Mirror. This ain't Insecure. She's
Yeah.
not being Issa Rae. She's a whole nother character. Like it's a different thing. But that
That's
Issa Rae
Black
was the first person I seen.
unintelligence.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's what that is.
right.
And no, seriously, it is. Because like Josh said, there's people who don't watch Black Mirror who are commenting, creating whole opinion op pieces. And it's like, you don't even watch the show to know what it is.
Do you also think that maybe like subconsciously, because Issa Rae was the only black person in that episode, I feel like subconsciously sometimes black people have a problem with something and they don't know what it is or they don't know how to express it, so they kind of lash out. Because I'm like, maybe they felt uncomfortable with her doing some gay shit. Maybe they felt uncomfortable with like the character she was playing, or that like there was no other black people in there. She was kissing a white lady. That could make them feel weird. They don't know what to say.
All of that, I think so. And I do think that sometimes people feel uncomfortable and they don't know what to do or say. So the first thing they do is do what they have control over. So they go online and they leave opinions hoping for someone else to agree with them.
That's
And
why
if-
we have op and no op, y'all.
Yeah.
Because
That's
sometimes you don't have to
literally
have an
why-
opinion, especially when you haven't watched. Like, if there's a universe of a show that you don't typically watch, and then you watch one episode and you're like, I didn't get it. You probably weren't supposed to
Facts.
get it because
Right.
you don't even know what the show is about.
Facts.
I think too, it is true that niggas just don't be knowing what y'all talking about.
That too.
Because they were talking about Issa Rae in terms of the movie One of Them Days, which I just watched. It's so good. I loved it. But they're talking about Issa Rae as if she wrote the movie. She did not write
she's
it.
a
She
producer.
produced it. That means she
Right.
paid for it to get made. Somebody
Right.
else wrote it. But they were saying like, what does Issa know about struggling and having to pay, you know,
Issa wasn't
struggling
always
to pay
rich
rent?
neither. Like
Her parents are rich. That don't mean that she had money. But she also talks about when she came up as a filmmaker, having no money to make films. It is a very expensive thing to do, and having to ask her friends to work for free. If you watch the original Awkward Black Girl, you could tell that it's low budget. They had what they had.
But
And
time
she
out,
worked
I'ma
to
let
get
you
it
finish,
done.
Though, just because her parents have money don't mean
Don't mean
she
she
don't
had
know what
money.
struggle.
Right.
Her parents could have easily said, yo, you got to figure this out.
Yep.
Absolutely.
'Cause
Trying
I'm
to build her.
definitely
We doing
doing
the
that.
same thing with our boys.
I was about to say that.
This
My
is a
kids are
Huxtable
probably-
moment. We have money.
Right.
You don't.
have nothing.
Remember that
Seriously.
episode?
Yes, I do.
Like that, but I'm glad you brought that up,
Yeah.
Tribble, because that also is the thing that bothers me as we talk about Black excellence and Black power, right? It's this idea that Black excellence is only associated with struggle. Like,
Well, I think it's the opposite. I feel like I was saying, people that feel left out of that Black excellence conversation. Issa Rae is Black excellence. I don't think anybody can argue with that.
I agree.
But then people are thinking, well, she's Black excellence because her parents had money and she had more opportunity. That's why she's able to get it. So
That's
she
what I'm
shouldn't
saying.
be talking about my experience.
And that's what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
feel like that's unfair to say
Yes.
that this person has to go through this struggle to have a Black tag to say this is Black excellence.
Oh yeah, I mean, black.
For
It's always
example,
associated
Or
with
to
struggle,
just
though.
be able to understand Black people and Black life. I don't think that you have to necessarily go through the same things. And then she didn't write the movie.
agree.
Like that's
the biggest thing is she didn't write the movie. The same way people was asking me like, why you make the tickets for Othello so expensive?
That was one of the biggest questions we got. He got into a full blown argument with somebody that he
That should've
knows
been up or no up.
about that, and it went completely left. And Deval was like, "That I
Swear.
did not set the ticket
Swear.
prices.
They
We
got
had
me.
nothing to
They
do
came at me.
with the ticket prices, y'all. We don't set that as producers."
But that's the point, that you niggas don't be knowing
They
shit.
don't know how
and they'll just
shit
go
works,
online
yeah.
and say things, and then
Yeah.
a whole bunch of other niggas who don't know shit will
Piggyback on it.
And before I say niggas to do that, like only Black people do that, no. If you only follow the shade room, you only hear Black news.
That's true.
Go to other rooms. Go to the Indian shade room or the Asian shade room. They be in there getting on each other too, right? This is gonna be funny, right? Okay, it's gonna be funny.
Is it really gonna be funny, Deval, or is somebody gonna be offended?
No,
Both.
it's actually gonna be funny.
Two things can be true.
It's two things. Somebody might be offended, but I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna say what I say anyway, right?
Right.
In my group chats, right, there's a bunch of young Black dudes who are all like in their late 20s or 30s, all my prototype kids, right? And they constantly kept saying to me, Man, black people are the only people that do this. Black people are the only people that do this, right? And then we had gotten to the argument about black women and black men. And they were like, black women are the only women on the internet talking about black men. So at that point, I chose to introduce them to different parts of the digital space.
Yeah.
You only follow Neighborhood Talk. You only follow the Shade Room. So you only hear black women's opinions. So I started sharing with them all these different opinions from all these different women from different cultures. And it sounded exactly the same. And I said, this is the point, y'all. What you read, what you listen to, your algorithm is gonna keep sending that to you.
Yep.
So your algorithm is only sending you stuff like the Shade Room and Neighborhood Talk. So you feel
That's your
that
world.
only black people are speaking about these things, when in reality, the whole world is having the same conversation. And you're upset at black women because those are the women you frequent. Same thing with black women. You're upset at black men because black men are the only ones saying this. No. Go to the Asian Shade Room and watch how they talk about Asian men.
Is
It's
there
the
really an
facts.
Asian Shade Room?
I don't know.
We gotta find it.
Yo, I was gonna say the most. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut, bro.
But you understand what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
get
Like-
what you're saying.
Like we also, as black people, if we want to talk about what black excellence is and what black power is, we have to expand our perspective.
Right.
That's what Josh was
And
saying.
stop
and that's
feeding into
also
these
what
other
Tribble was saying. Like,
narratives.
come on, y'all.
Yeah.
Like, you
So-
can't only, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Okay.
You can't
Finish your
only
thought.
watch the Shade Room and then say to me, "Oh, black women, anything." I don't. Your opinion doesn't matter to me at all at this point. Like, if you look at someone's homepage on their Instagram, that tells you where their mind is most of the time.
So I was, as the conversation is going, I even thought about the conversation that we had on the code switching episode where we talked about the Oscars, right?
Mhm.
And we said that they're just out here, voting off of vibes. And we have always aspired to, I think in general as people, if the standard of excellence within film is to get an Oscar, we all, black people included, aspire to that
Yes.
as actors, right? So when talking about black excellence and black power and spaces and arenas that we have now curated for ourselves to celebrate each other, where are those spaces and what do they look like? So for example, what came to mind for me was Essence Black Women in Hollywood.
Okay.
That's a space that I've been invited to where I go because sometimes you need to be in a space where you feel celebrated amongst your peers. You can aspire and be inspired. You can kind of get a recharge and a reset in a forum that you know has been specifically designed to celebrate the excellence, but also the power behind being in numbers of women who are like-minded and doing the things that you want to do or have done or aspire to do. So we have like the Black Essence Black Women in Hollywood. I was just at the Accelerate Her conference in Miami. So what are other spaces that you think that we are now saying, you know what? We need to now create these spaces for ourselves because we can't always rely on other folks to celebrate us, and how that ties into excellence and power.
The first thing I'll
we've
say,
been doing. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I think we've been doing it for since the establishment of us in this country.
I was gonna say the same thing.
We got the Divine Nine. We got black organizations that celebrate us.
Yeah, Jack and Jill.
Jack and Jill, right? So I think there's always been us making space for ourselves. That's why we got our black colleges and universities. Like we've recognized that we need space to empower ourselves and become excellent at the same time.
Right.
I think things like these organizations or these expos or what, if you
conferences,
will, if you
summits,
call it, conferences that you are just a microcosm of that shared black experience that we, are subsectors. But I think we've always been doing it.
Yeah,
I would agree with Josh. If you think about Reconstruction, there are so many black cities and black towns who were built off of black excellence and black power. The problem is history has shown us that when you build something off black excellence and black power, they're going to take it, or they're going to drown it.
Yeah.
Or they go and
burn
bomb
it down
and burn it. You see what I'm saying? Like you think about Tulsa, you think about Seneca Falls. There's so many examples of black excellence and black power that has just been disintegrated by white superiority. So I feel like in these last 50 years, black people have decided to find their excellence and their power and keep it quiet and keep it private. For example, I work at Tyler Perry Studios, right? This is not a humble brag. I make more money than 90% of the people working on Hollywood, and they're white. Because my employer is a black owner. He owns the land. He owns the studios. He owns the content. He decides who makes what money. I think we're finally reaching a point where I no longer have to run to another version of what I want to do to be celebrated.
And I think those are spaces where we then celebrate like this is a group of Black affluent people. This is a group of Black students. So when you talked about in the code switching episode, sometimes you don't want to be known as the first Black actor to do this, or I am a Black actor who did that, or I'm a Black father. It's like, how do we toe the line between wanting to celebrate that and the excellence and power that stands with it? But then how do we also say, you know what, I want to be seen as just a great man, just a great woman, just a great father, just a great mother.
So you're just gonna come here today and put your journalism degree to work? Because that's a good question.
Yeah, because like, how do we coexist in that space?
That's a good point.
You know?
I'm not gonna lie, I struggle with that. Like Tribble, I told Jackson, I was like, yo, he was like, Dad, you gonna win an Oscar, you gonna do all this other stuff. And I was like, man, when I do win an Oscar, I don't want them to be like, he's the third Black person to win an Oscar. And then I was like, nah, I do want them to do that, because other Black kids need to see that this is excellence. This is, and then I was struggling, like, do I want them to announce it that way,
right,
to marginalize it? Or do I want them to say, this is the first Oscar for DeVal, he beat out so-and-so, and then it's just, you know, like, I'm struggling. I don't have the answer.
Think about what number one on the call sheet. Did you guys watch that on Netflix yet?
I haven't watched it yet.
So it's great. And it's 2 parts. They have a couple gentlemen, and then they have the women who spoke about it. But particularly the episode with the women, where they were talking about Whoopi Goldberg and her being one of the first and only, you know, of her time to win an Oscar. And there were only like 3 or 4 Black women in a span of decades.
The first thing is, Whoopi Goldberg was so talented, right? She could do stand-up, she could sing, she could write, and she could act. She was so gifted, they didn't even know what to do with her, right? Now, here's the crazy part. All of the movies that Whoopi's done, critically acclaimed and box office success, were all roles written for and by white men, for either white women or white men, and they didn't want to do it, so Whoopi said, I'll do it. And we
she
talking
took
about
all the roles
Sister
people
Act,
didn't want.
Eddie, where she played
Ghost.
the Knicks head coach, Ghost.
Well, she said that Patrick Swayze was the one who wanted her. I love Patrick. Oh,
Love
rest in
him,
peace to
yeah.
him. You know me and Dirty Dancing, y'all. So yeah.
That
but
is your favorite movie.
I love
Favorite
Tu-Wong
movie.
Fu. That's one of my favorites.
That was a good one.
That's a good movie too. Eddie, I'm not Eddie. Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes, yeah.
That's my guy.
Yeah.
But she talked about how even being excellent in Hollywood during that time, there was no such thing as Black excellence. She was just excellent. And because there was no space for Black people, they didn't even know what to do with her. And when I watched that, I was just like, wow. Like, but that's also the challenge. When you say Black excellence, those people don't know what to do with Black excellence. Even when you say excellence, because Whoopi was never celebrated as a Black excellent person. She was just excellent. And they still didn't know. So that's what leaves me kind of confused. Like, how do you exactly navigate it? Because I don't want them to make all of my accomplishments about Black, but I need all these Black boys and Black girls to be like, yo, like he did that. You know what I'm saying? It's hard.
It sort of talks to a point about when you brought up Tyler Perry and your earnings based off of him seeing you. I think it talks to Black excellence having to move hand in hand with Black power, right? Like I think we shouldn't separate the two. I think being good at your craft and being excellent at your craft needs to move with power. Like you need that power to be able to.
It can't be ideology.
Yes, it can be ideology.
Yes,
exactly.
Right.
It has to show its strength.
Yeah.
Right.
And it has to be able to move. Right. We talk money talks. Right.
Facts.
Money's power. Right. I mean, we live in a capitalist country. Right. Politics don't mean nothing here.
Facts.
Right. The only thing that moves anything or anyone is the money. Right.
Resources.
And you can't be excellent without the money, because once you're excellent, you're giving room for people to say, nah, we're gonna go with somebody else. Forget that they're good. We could get somebody else that's white that's good. We could get somebody else that does this in a completely different way, or we don't have to fund it. The government doesn't have to fund what we do. But when we move with power, we can more or less break barriers, or we don't have to.
I get what you're saying. I don't. No. I get what you're saying, and you articulated it perfectly. Like Black excellence is an ideology. Black power is an actual action item. Like, what are we doing to move us forward? Black excellence is this idea, right? The idea is Barack Obama and Michelle.
Or
like
it comes after attaining some sort of power move, right?
No, the excellence, well, yeah, you're right. Excellence typically does come after.
Like what deems excellent? What's deemed something excellent after going through something?
After the process.
After the process.
Let's give our listeners like some actual tangible examples.
I'll say this about I'll stick with the Tyler Perry example because again, Black excellence is based on your individual accomplishments. Black power is based on the collective.
The collective.
That's-
Collective.
So
I agree.
Okay.
Tyler Perry, it's not the money that makes him powerful. It's the fact that he makes Black content for Black people by Black people. And he continues to do that. And he
And
doesn't
pays them
have
their
to
worth.
answer
You're
to
right.
anybody else
Yes.
about
That's
what
the
he
power.
makes.
Yes.
That's the power.
That's the power.
And then he's deemed excellent because of that.
Exactly. He's deemed excellent because he makes a bunch of money. He's able to do, he built his empire off making these Black plays and Black people going to see him. That's his excellence. He makes good content for the people that he makes it for. And now he's empowered other Black people, Black artists, even
agree
Black
with that.
consumers, that there is space for them in the world of art, TV, movies, theater. Now, the one thing that I hate about Beyonce is that she will go to the Grammys every year, sit in that audience and watch them play in her face and not give her Artist of the Year. And it's not, and we say every year that she has been nominated, they are not giving it to her because she's Black, because as a musician, regardless of, color, her art is better than everybody else on the docket,
Right.
especially the winner. But she doesn't show up at the Soul Train Awards or the BET Awards. And Beyonce has the power behind the collective because she has made the art that we enjoy and she has stayed true to her Blackness, that Black Beyonce fans are dedicated to her. She has, and just fans overall are so dedicated to her that she has the power to draw away viewership from the Grammys. If she were to show up at the Soul Train Awards
I
and say,
agree.
this
Yeah, I
is the
see that.
award that
I
I
agree
care
wholeheartedly.
about.
Yeah.
And so that I feel
Yeah.
like that she is not using the power that she has or Black power or empowering Black spaces with the power
With
that
her
she
presence.
has. Exactly.
I
I
agree
can see
with
that.
you. I
Yeah.
agree with you. I want to add something so that you understand a little perspective of what artists go through, because me and Kadeen go through this, right? And I'm not outing any Black publications, right? But when Kadeen and I have looked at numbers and everything, Kadeen and I aren't celebrated amongst Black publications at all. We aren't celebrated. But let a white publication then celebrate us.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Black
Then
want to come back and say, can Kadeen and DeVal come here? And it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
All those years when we were doing this just for our people, you never cared enough about us. We've been doing this podcast for 16
6 years, 7 years,
7 years, 16 seasons, won a Webby Award, never been nominated for an NAACP Image Award, right? Never been talked about by Essence. And this is not a play for me to get nominated. I'm not asking for that because we don't do this for that. But what I'm saying is that numbers-wise, we've been better than a bunch of podcasts that they've had nominated and win. When you look at metrics and the things that we've talked about have been better, and we haven't been recognized by those Black publications. Let Emmy come and say, hey, we want to honor DeVal and Kadeen at the Emmy Awards, right? And then we go. Those same Black people will be like, oh, they're going to go to the Emmys, but they don't go to the Soul Train Awards. Well, y'all haven't celebrated us the whole grind.
That
Y'all
is a
waited
fact.
until white people celebrated us, and now you want us to come back. So in the beginning, it was fuck me and my little podcast, but now white people said, hey, we like this. And now I feel like that. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm a part of the BET family, and I'm a part of all of this stuff. But fuck them too. Because we've had the #1 show on television for 7 years. You've never seen any one of them women, a show led by 5 Black women. None of them women ever went up there to get an award by Soul Train.
Yeah.
None of them ever went to get an NAACP Image Award. But let one of them women go up there to go get a Grammy or go get an Emmy. All of them same people gonna be being like, she didn't come down here with us. Y'all didn't
you
recognize
didn't
her.
invite us.
So when it comes to Beyonce and them, I understand people's thought process, and you're absolutely right. I just wonder what happened to that point. And
Yeah,
if they feel
if there was a point like that where
we
they felt
feel,
like we
you know what I'm
felt
saying? Because I
sometimes,
felt
yeah.
like that at times.
Yeah,
and
and
I've
it's,
been like,
I think Beyonce doesn't, it's not just the Black awards that she doesn't go to. I don't think she goes to like the AMAs anymore. Or like, I think the only award she really goes to is the Grammys.
Right.
And
I wonder
I-
if they're voting off of vibes too, or if it's just the.
I think they,
Yeah.
I think
Grammys?
they all vote on
Yeah,
vibes.
they
Yeah.
definitely
Is
voting
it
off
going to
of
come
vibe.
out now that all of these?
This is what's crazy. I think the Soul Train Awards and the NAACP Image Awards votes off vibes too.
All
Right,
of
yeah.
them.
Because there's no way you gave other people awards and didn't think about us. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm
Right.
starting to get pissed.
Yeah.
Mainly.
I wonder how it works.
We do this for y'all. We don't do this for the awards.
Might get this man a cold
just
towel,
what
man.
it is.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest, right?
I hear you though. Yeah.
For the last 6 years, there has been nobody who's done anything has done as much work when it comes to fatherhood and representing a family man in the black space on social media as much as I have, and including
you
with my
started it.
friends and my family.
You started it.
Not once have I been nominated for Social Media Person of the Year by the NAACP Image Awards. Now, I plan on continuing to go and do stuff. When I go get nominated by something else and then Soul Train want to come back, no, am I wrong for saying y'all ignored me for all these years, but finally the white publications said I was good, but now am I wrong for that at that point?
Go
I'm
off of
asking a
vibes.
serious question.
I don't think so.
Well,
Go off of vibes at that point.
me and my friends, we have this phrase that we use, and the phrase is Black Nigga Productions. And I love Black people. I love Black businesses.
BNP.
But
BNP.
Black people, sometimes they run businesses in a way that you're like, why the fuck? And BET, I feel like, does stuff like that. Like, they will like nominate the same people every year instead of recognizing people who actually are
I feel
coming up
you.
in the space.
I feel
So
you.
it feels to me like Black Nigga Productions, like who y'all got started 2 weeks ago on this. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it
Yeah,
feels
I
like
feel
that
you.
to me sometimes.
Yeah.
I-
But you know why I
absolutely,
think it
'cause-
hasn't. Oh, go ahead.
It ain't just us. Issa Rae wasn't celebrated by the NAACP Image Awards and by BET when she had her YouTube series. And it wasn't until Insecure became mainstream and white people started pointing at Issa Rae that anyone in the black space started to pay attention to Issa Rae. So I'm not saying this as if it's a slight on me. This has been happening to us by our own people for years.
For a while.
I
You know what I'm
think
saying?
you know what I think it is ultimately for you, babe. For example, winning something like Social Media Person of the Year or whatever. You're just not a social media person. There's just so much more to you. You're a legitimate actor. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to be. So when those things haven't come your way, I was just like, you know what? That's just maybe putting you in that box of just social media influencer, which is something that you don't necessarily want to be. It's what we do
Fair.
as a means to an end to get our art and our work out there to be hired as actors. But you don't want
That's
that to
fair.
be, you know, what you're defined as. So
That's-
maybe
that's-
we can look at it that way.
That's fair, and that's why I don't think that much about it.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be honest. In the last 6 years, New York Times bestselling author,
Mm-hmm.
over 4 million followers on all platforms, 2 #1 shows, Webby Award winning podcasts. Trying to think what else we've done. And when they do Social Media Person of the Year, they've gone from Kevin Hart,
Mm-hmm.
right, all the way down to Kevin Lee, right?
Oh, Keith Lee.
Keith Lee. And Keith Lee at the time when they nominated him had half as many as I did. And then, so my thing is, what's the criteria?
Right.
What is the criteria?
Right.
If you went from Kevin Hart to Keith Lee, you went from Entertainer of the Year from Keke Palmer, all the way to Tyler Perry, Entertainer of the Year, right? But you've never mentioned other people who have only been celebrated in black spaces.
Do you play
All
the
of
game?
people?
Do you play the game?
Yeah.
Do I play what game?
The politics game. Do you play
Bro,
the game?
Name a time in the last 6 years that I've said no to any publication.
That's why we
Black,
be running
white, or
ragged.
indifferent. That's why I be so tired. I've gone to Essence and done stuff for free. I've gone to the Soul Train Awards. I've been to ABFF and worked as a correspondent. My point is, I'm not going to give them any passes. The same way I call out white publications, I'm going to call them out too. A lot of black publications don't big up their black creatives when they're on the rise. They only big up the black creatives once white people have finally said, this is the person.
Yeah.
And then when that person goes to the Emmys, then the black publications want to point out that they don't go
Mm-hmm.
to them. But it was like, y'all shat on me
Yeah.
for years while I was building. And that's just a fact. And not for nothing, a lot of it does have to do with the fact that black publications don't have the same resources. They can't celebrate us the way they want to celebrate us. So what they try to do is reach out to the A-list stars that have already got celebrated to come to these events to get more sponsors. Like, I understand
Right,
the
and
game.
get more eyes.
If
It's the
you're Soul
business
Train, if
portion
you're
too.
BET, it's like, oh, we got to get Kevin Hart. We got to get Keith Lee. They hot. We got to get this person. But there's creators right now in this space that y'all don't know who are going to be those people. Y'all ignoring them right now. And when those people become those people, don't go back to them then. One publication told us we couldn't be on the cover because Kay wasn't black enough. Josh, you know, because you was our photographer. This is not lies.
Yes.
This is facts.
Yeah,
They
years
said- they
ago,
said,
our wedding
well, is she
conversation.
black? I know he's black. Is she black?
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
you know, till this day when I bring it up to them, they be like, "We said that."
We said
We
that.
said-
And I'm
Uh-huh.
like, "Nah, you said
Yes,
that."
you-
Definitely
yes.
said
I'm not
that.
gonna forget that.
I remember when you called me, you was like, D, man, like, I pitched him for this, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? He was like, bro. This,
The blinkety blackest
I said,
of them all.
And I was pissed. I was pissed for my wife more than anything. Because here's another example where blackness is only defined by what you say blackness is.
Yeah.
Amongst our own black folk.
Right.
Yeah.
And that
And
you know what I'm
now that same publication, it posts mixed racial couples, black and white. Like it does
see
it
what I'm
right
saying?
now.
It
Yup.
does it, yeah.
And the only
Yeah.
reason why they're doing it now is because posting mixed race couples probably got them a bigger acceptance by
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
their proximity. They use artists for proximity. It's the same way people use it for proximity, publications do too. That is a fact.
Put y'all on game today on how it works, huh?
Yeah,
Dope.
this has happened to me. I did a short film and like a brand shoot for a hair care, very popular black hair care line back in the day, like 2017, and they scrapped the whole thing because the short film, which somebody else wrote, was about 2 women getting married, and they were like, "No gay shit over here."
Wow.
And they just
Really
scrapped it.
scrapped you.
Yeah, never put it out, never used the pictures. I got paid, but I would have liked to see myself, you know what I'm saying, in the
On
Target
a
marketing.
relaxer box
Yeah,
or something.
on a relaxer box.
Shit.
I guarantee you this. If you did the same project and a white publication picked it up, that black publication would have called you and asked if they can run it as well.
Yeah.
And as unfair as it is, I understand why. They're fighting for, this is just an example, but Tyler has spoken about this well. Tyler Perry is the highest grossing producer in Hollywood. No one ever talks about it. Like producer, director, actor, no one has grossed more money than him. Box office wise, it is a fact. Largest studio.
Yep.
He
All the
gets
things.
numbers, number one, everything. When it comes down to getting money for projects, right? Yellowstone gets something like 24 to 26 million per episode to do their episode. You know how much Tyler gets per episode? $750,000.
Oh my God.
A fraction. Now, the reason why this is important is because this is why I don't get so upset. I do get upset talking about it, but if you're a publication, you're fighting for resources that you don't have access to. So it's like, what's the best way can I get this
How can I get it done quickly?
Who we gonna nominate?
And
Go to somebody
money.
that's already
DeVal, or we gonna nominate Kevin Hart? Sorry, Kevin.
Yeah.
We need you. You know,
Yeah.
it's the same thing in the
Unfortunately, yeah.
NBA and the NFL,
Yeah.
man. I didn't get drafted. Marcus Colston got drafted, right? When my senior year, I was the number 1 receiver. Marcus had just came back off of injury. I was leading in receiving yards and touchdowns up to the last 2 games, got hurt. When it came down to the draft pick, right? The draft. Are you going to draft a 5'10", 170-pound receiver, or are you going to draft 6'5", 240? I would draft Marcus Colston 10 times out of 10. So I'm not upset. I just understand what it is. I just want the people to understand too. When you see your favorite celebrity sometimes say, I'm not going back to BET, it's probably because they feel like they got shitted on by BET for mad years. And being that I'm in here in BET right now, I hear it all the time. I hear from the BET execs, they're like, DeVal, we're fighting with resources. We can't pay y'all. Like I did a project for Netflix and they sent me on tour, press tour.
Yeah.
Paid for everything. Cause it's Netflix. BET hit me like, DeVal, you want to tour? We don't have money for glam. And I'm like, okay, I got it. This is for me anyway. So I'll pay.
To promote your show.
To promote my
Yeah.
show. So I'll pay for myself and I'll write it off on taxes. But some celebrities after a while just be like, man, I'm not doing that for BET no more.
Yeah.
And that's the fucked up part. I'm gonna do this for BET till I die because I want those kids to see me. I think me and Matt talked about this. I want to be the celebrity that does a movie like Independence Day. And they're like, y'all went to go see DeVal in the theaters. Shit was crazy. But on Wednesday, he was Zach. Because there's some family somewhere in Brooklyn who don't have the money to pay for a $30 IMAX ticket to go see DeVal. But on Wednesday, they could see DeVal be Zach. Like, that's what I want to do. So I'm always going to be there for BT. I'm also going to be there for the big ones. But I'm going to let them motherfuckers know.
Along the way.
Like, this is
Yep.
this shit ain't right. Like, y'all got to figure this out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I love that. Figure it out. Let's figure out how to pay these bills. Because that's one thing that's always going to keep coming. All right. So we're going to do that and we're going to move into listener letters. Stick around, y'all.
Come on, Josh. It's 12:39. Like, the kids gonna be home from school soon.
We've been waiting on you, bro.
I was over there the whole time waiting on y'all fixing the lights.
You was still in glam. Look at you. Take it. You gonna do
I
this
don't
with your
even have
iPads
no-
on? You gonna do this with your iPads on?
All right, I'll take them off.
They cute. They match your shirt though.
You can use them to cover your nipples.
Leave my nipples alone. They were fine till you got here.
I tend to make that happen sometimes. You know
Let me
what I'm
let me go get myself together.
saying? Let me help you.
All right, we over me, baby.
I'll take this off.
All right, we're back and let's dive into this listener letter for today. Hello, I'm a 31-year-old Jamaican woman. And if you don't know, that's Jamaican and American woman. And I'm engaged to my fiance, 32 years old, Black man. We've been dating for about 5 years, engaged for 6 months, and our wedding is in 2025. I recently was out running errands and noticed my engagement ring slipped off my finger. Ooh, I retraced my steps, looked all over my car, but I couldn't find it and believe it was stolen. I'm devastated. I filed a police report and plan to continue going to local pawn shops to see if I can find my ring. My fiance, unfortunately, did not have the ring insured yet. He has been pretty chill about the whole situation. The ring cost him $3,500 and we both don't make much money. We got into a little argument because I told him I will buy the same ring with the wedding fund, but he made a good point that although I'm paying for majority of the wedding, I can't afford to spend an extra $3,000 on another ring. Plus, I'm more upset that the sentimental value of my engagement ring is gone and all we have now are the memories of the proposal, which was simple and intimate like I had asked. So as of now, we both agreed that I will just wear a nice fake ring so I have something to wear for our engagement photos, my bridal shower, and our wedding, and then 3 years down the road, he'll buy me another ring. I admire you both, Kadeen and DeVal, and y'all's marriage. I want to get both of y'all's advice on this and what you guys would do if you were in our shoes. Thanks so much.
This is easy for me. Because the diamond industry is in shambles, do not buy another fucking diamond ring.
Don't do
What
it.
you do is you go get a lab-grown diamond.
Mhm.
It's going to cost you 10% of
Yeah.
the price, and it's going to look exactly the same. You
Or
want to know
better.
why? Because seeking admiration from people outside of your relationship is going to do nothing for your relationship. Go get that fake ring, put on your finger, take your pictures. You and your fiance plan the perfect wedding for yourself that y'all want, and then go on y'all merry way.
Mic drop. That's really it. And the fact that you guys are, and they have a plan to like put the fake ring on, get married, and then maybe 3 years down the line, you want to get another ring.
Get another ring.
Get another ring. We've learned over time that literally these things are material. I understand the sentimental value, but DeVal proposed to me with a ring that he had custom made. It was beautiful.
Yes.
Round stone. It had
Yes.
a K and a D on it. It was beautiful. And it was made by our jeweler, Ari, at the time. Rest in peace to Ari. He died from
Passed
leukemia
away
years
6
ago.
months after from leukemia.
Yeah. And that for me was super sentimental because
Yeah.
I'm like, Ari made the ring.
He made my original.
He made DeVal's
wedding
original
ring.
wedding band. It was just very sentimental. And then
Yeah.
as the years go on, you live in the memory of it,
Yeah.
but the material thing doesn't necessarily have the connection that you think it has to that memory. Because I've had my ring. This is the 3rd ring I've had now
Yeah.
because DeVal has changed and upgraded just
Yeah.
with the time and how my style has changed. So yeah, I think between the lab grown diamond, that's the hack now because we have someone that we know who's getting a divorce and tried to sell her ring. Ring was valued at $75,000 when her husband bought it for her. We took it to a local jeweler to try to see if she can turn it in. They weren't giving her more than $15,000. He paid $75,000 for this ring, guys.
They said the market has changed so much because
Yeah.
lab-grown diamonds pretty much take the same. This is how much science has changed.
Mhm.
It goes through the same process of coaling the diamond into a diamond that it does underground. So when they test it, it passes all the same tests.
Sure does.
So now you can get the same exact diamond as you had before with no flaws, and it's going to pass all of the diamond laser tests.
Right.
I am not going to spend $3,000 when I can spend $350. I'm
Hell
just
no.
not going to do it. I'm going to invest that money in creating a greater future. There's some days I walk around and Kay don't got her ring on. Kay lost her tennis bracelet that I bought her, and she was so devastated. Crying. And I said, Kadeen, it's a thing. Like, it's a thing. Like, we have each other. Like, these things are going to come and go.
Yeah, absolutely. Good luck to y'all with the wedding planning and starting your life together. That's awesome.
Yes.
All right, y'all, if you want to be featured as one of our listener letters, email us at theellisadvice. Well,
Yes.
theellisadvice@gmail.com. So
That's
spell that out.
THELLIsadvice@gmail.com.
All right, let's go into Moment of Truth time. We're talking about Black excellence and Black power, Black excellence versus Black power. What is our final round out with this conversation? Take us away, Trib.
I think the 2024 election is a great example about what matters, Black excellence or Black power, because other people that you might be trying to be like in the name of excellence, they don't even want the life that you want. They don't want none of this shit.
Good point.
So do everything that you do excellently and for the collective, for your people, so we can all make it to the other side unscathed. Amen.
Amen, honey. I don't think we need no more moments of truth, child. That was a blanket statement for everybody. But go ahead, let me speak for you.
For me, simple. Let your light shine. That's the only way Black excellence happens.
Love that. What you got, Josh?
I think Black excellence cannot exist without Black power. Nixon 5.
Babe,
Love that for you. Just always remember the Black power portion of it is a verb. It's a movement.
You took mine.
And by way of movement, we attain something that, like Tribble told us with Black excellence, is something that we as individuals can feel. So know that one has to work with the other simultaneously.
Yeah, mine is easy. Black excellence is an ideology. Black power is an action item. Get out there and do stuff. Be powerful.
That's it. All right, y'all. Be powerful and be excellent, and join us on Patreon if you have not yet, because that's the best way to be with the Ellises. We have our after show on there for Ellis Ever After. We also have exclusive family content. You can find us there. So if you haven't joined Patreon yet, do so. And you can find us on social media at Ellis Ever After. I'm at Kadeen I Am.
And I am DeVal.
I'm Matt_.Ellis. Excuse me, I said that wrong. Way wrong.
I'm like,
I have a terrible name and I want to change it. If y'all can help me get a new Instagram name, please. But it's _Matt.Ellis.
Yo, we confuse these people every
week.
There's a new one every time.
And you can double click on my fix at Joshua_Dwayne.
I'm at Tribs the Cool, TRIBBZ the Cool on everything.
That's right. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Please do.
Cut.
Ellis Ever After is an iHeartMedia podcast. It's hosted by Kadeen and DeVal Ellis. It's produced by Tribble. Video production by Joshua Dwayne and Matthew Ellis. Video editing by LaShawn Rowe.